Welcome to Martini Time. It's a beautiful day here in Blackstone, the center of the world, but then you too are the center of the world. So let this talk in this, let us be awake and aware, and let this talk lead us to our true center. Now, wait a minute. The title of this talk is The Soccer of Politics. I think that's what it is. I was just watching a soccer game between World Cup between Denmark and Croatia, and it went to overtime, and then it went to penalty points. And it's interesting when you just watch the soccer, not for the content, the who's playing, but for the emotional roller coaster of it. So it's kind of like you have deflation and exaltation with as bookends, with tension in between. So when one side gets the goal, it's elation, and the other side is deflation. Inflation, deflation, and then this side gets it, and now it's inflation and deflation. So it's kind of like a teeter-totter with tension in the middle. You see? Whoop, 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 whoop. And it lasts for, God knows, an hour and a half or whatever it lasts. And of course it builds as the game goes on, particularly if it's even. The tension builds. And the emotional expression on the fans is interesting. Almost utter despair or absolute joy. And nothing really happened. A ball got kicked back and forth on a field. Nothing really happened, but you would think the cosmos has either come to the end or been saved. You know, it's that great. And also notice another thing is that now I'm just kind of looking at soccer from a rather distant, objective point of view. It reminded me of a cat following a laser dot. The little ball is the laser dot, and you just watch it go back and forth, and you don't take your eye. The fans don't take their eyes off the ball. The players don't take their eyes off the ball, and the TV viewers don't take your eyes off. You watch the ball. It's like a cat. You see, and it goes and it's building a tension, and then you know, like that. Then it goes back, tension, and and then build back, tension, and you see. And the greater the tension, the greater the elation and the deflation. Have you noticed that? The greater the tension, the greater the joy and the despair. But it's all momentary because the game continues. You see. So it's very interesting. It's just like a psychic massage. Tension, and one side gets released. And the other side gets tension, So, and when the game starts on a flat field, has a big circle, and a line goes right down the middle, and they put the ball right in the middle. So the ball is kind of like the portable center. In other words, you have the center, you have the one that has no second, and then you divide it. You see. See, you have the one, it begins at the one that has no second, and then you divide it. And now the ball becomes the center. You see what I mean? The ball has been invested with the center. And now the center goes towards this, towards that. The ball goes there. And if it goes through the hole, for a moment, it restores center. But then the game, of course, stretches out over time, so the tension again, you see. So the ball now invested with the center, invested with the original center then, is like a portable center, and each side moves that center back and forth in an effort to restore the original center. So that's the game. First you divide, and then you create the tension, and then you struggle to restore the center, you see, of course with one half claiming victory, the center. One half of the divided, you see, divide the center, then one half will claim the center. And that one half, in this case it was Croatia, became the center that had no second. It had restored the universe. It had healed the wound. You see, when the center is divided, that's a wound. And life, if you get wounded, your organism will work to restore health, you see. So when the center is wounded, the life force is engaged to restore unity. And of course, in the game, only one side can become the one without a second. So the whole World Cup is a progression of the division of the one into two, and then that half will become the one, and then that will fight another one. And so the ones keep fighting the ones until there is finally the World Cup winner and the one that has no second. And that, in the game mythology, has been the restoration of the center, at least until the next World Cup. So every 4 years, you have this. And so for the next 4 years, the whole soccer thing will be working towards this one moment when the one without a second is finally chosen. But it only lasts for 4 years. It's kind of like the presidency. It's kind of like, if you notice our politics, it's kind of like a soccer game. If you get away from the content, which means the left or the right and the policy and the values and all of that stuff, you see, if you just look at the emotional content or the emotional experience of it, you have all of these little soccer games, like the one where the Alexander Cortez beat the established entrenched Democrat, and there was exultation, So all of these little elections are like mini soccer games, and they're all kind of like building towards the big one, which is the presidential election, which we can't wait. You see, got 3 more years to go. You see, so all of this, and it's kind of like American politics now has become one everlasting soccer game in which there is this elation and depression or deflation and the tension between. And so what does it do? But it's played out in media, and it keeps us focused on the little white ball, you see. First the Republicans got the ball, and they're running with it, and then the Democrats got it, and they go with it, and then the Republicans, and then there's a little election, yay! Goal! Goal! And then there's another election, and yay! Goal! Goal! And this is basically one national political soccer game. So, and it really, I would think, it's kind of exhausting emotionally, because it gets exhausted now with the soccer game, with the football and the soccer and the tennis and all that. We know it's a game. We know it's a game. So we if you tune in and you become a fan, it's a game, and so you really say, I choose to go on this emotional roller coaster. If you don't think it's a game, then your health is going to be affected, and you might shoot somebody. because that's what a shooter is. It's somebody who took the game seriously and he shot the enemy. In other words, you get out a gun and shoot the team that just made a goal, if you take it seriously. So our political game, you see, used to be more of a soccer game. Politics in America used to be a game, and the players would all have a drink together at night. And then in the field of Congress, or the election field, they would passionately carry the ball and try and make a goal. But at night, it was a game. Well, unfortunately, we have lost that game understanding, and now it's become a life and death struggle. And you would think, if you watch the faces of the soccer fans, you would think it's a life and death struggle, but they know it's a game. Most. Because it's all, next time we'll do it. Next time we'll win, you see. But our American politics has become serious because we have invested our actual identity into our team. It's kind of like we have our team branded in our psyche. And once you get that, once you brand yourself into a team like the left or the right, you can't tolerate losing because it's like a death. I mean, it's like your loss of a death. You don't exist if you don't win, you see. So winning affirms our identity. Winning affirms our existence when we don't understand the game of it, you see. It used to be you existed whether you were a Republican or a Democrat. So your existence, your being was not affected by the results of the game. But we have identified with form, you see. You see, when we don't identify with the team and like brand, like brand it into our mind, you see, before we did that, we were not identified with the form of the team players or the brand, you see. But when you identify with the brand, left or right, Nike or Canon or whatever the brand is, you see, when you identify with it, then the loss of the brand is a loss of you because you have become one with it. So that's what's happened with our politics. Now, I'm not really trying to, there's certainly the argument for which is better and which values are true and all of that. I'm just trying to look at the basic emotional dynamics of it. And of course, the politics are serious now. I'm not saying it's not serious. I'm not saying it's a game. But I'm saying is that something has shifted in America in the way we do politics from what it used to be. And it was always serious. I'm not saying it was just fun, But what I'm saying is that there is because of media, I think, now everybody can watch the game, and it's almost live. Politics is almost real time. Everything is happening when it happens, just like a soccer game. You watch the soccer game, it's real time. It's really happening right then. So we watch the political soccer game in real time. We don't read about it the next day in the newspapers. You get something in the newspapers, it's already cooled off. It's a day old. But now it's hot, you see. It's happening now. We watch it happening. So we've all become a fan. We've lost our sense of being. We've lost our oneness. We've lost the one we used to be. And now we're divided into left and right, up and down, the teeter-totter, elation, inflation, depression, inflation, depression, deflation, you see, one or the other, back and forth. So we're kind of like emotional, political fans. You see, most of the time we really watch the political soccer game from our TV set, just like you watch the soccer game. Now, a few people are going to go march, and you're going to go out and knock on doors. You're going to get involved physically. But most people, it's a viewership, except for the one time when you have to go out and vote. Other than that, it's all pretty much viewing it as if it were a soccer game. Pretty much like that. But it's through this, we don't really understand what's happened to us because media is new. It's never happened in history before. This is a new fishbowl. This is a new water. This is a new environment that we're swimming in. And we don't really understand it, how it's changing us. You know, when you swim into a new environment, it changes you. Subtly, slowly. So we don't really notice the changes because it's not sudden. It's like the frog being slowly boiled in water. He doesn't really know at what moment he's boiled. You see? Or he would jump out. But he can't. It's so slow that he doesn't know when he's cooked. So he doesn't jump out. So it's kind of like that. We're just slowly being cooked in media. Caught up in the inflation and deflation. Wow, you see. With great hope that the next win will end the game. And I can sit back and go, it's over. It's over. But we don't come to that. There's no over. There's no end. And this creates a tremendous tension and psychic disturbance in the collective mind because there's no way to end it. You elect the next president, and the game starts already. Soon as one president's elected, who's going to be the next president? And the thing starts. You see, there's no rest from that because we have become attached to form. And that's not who we are. You see, we are the one that has no second. Each of you is, I'd say at the beginning of this, you are the center of the world. I'm the center, you are the center of the world. That means the one without a second. But because we believe the media is the world, and we have invested in the teams on the media, and the advertising of each team, or the corporation we buy, or whatever, you see. Because we invest in that, we invest our center in it. Just like in the soccer game, the center is invested in that ball. So the ball becomes the center, and each team runs with the ball to restore the center and end the tension of the game. But the political game has no end. So the tension in America keeps growing, and it's creating violence, outrage, anger, destruction, mass shootings, suicide, PTSD. All of these are symptoms of the mounting tension of the game that has no end because we have lost the center within ourselves. Each of us, you see. And so the real game is to restore our inner peace, our inner center. Because when that's restored, you can play the political game, but you don't feel it's the end of the world. It's a political game. Not to say it isn't serious. I'm just saying there's when you can maintain your inner peace, you can play the game creatively, but at the same time, you still know that you're okay. Thanks for dropping in.